Woken up, getting ready for racing this morning. Got the final of the men's single. The aim of the game now is to keep my food down prior to the race. I'm pretty nervous. I just had a couple of Weet-Bix then, and there's definitely a few nerves on board. You know, when you're struggling to eat 3 hours before a race, that there's something pretty important coming up. Mentally get in the right headspace to not only row well, but to put down a really solid performance. Something I've learned in the sculling field recently is if you're not 100% on it, 100% on it, you'll be backdoor.
I don't think John's really ever changed in terms of how physical he is and how hard working he is and how he races. I think that's probably always been one of his strengths, is that he's always been able to work so hard. He's been driven enough to always be pushing himself.
On speed, I've got the speed early. If I can finish off my race, I think I can sneak onto the podium, but there's probably 6 or 7 of us who also have the ability to sneak onto the podium. Get ready for the pain train. Coming to the course, you're trying to really start zoning in, 2 hours before, doing that imagery stuff, thinking, how's it going to feel, how's it going to look, what am I going to be thinking, and preparing yourself for, the real pain that's going to come through the middle of a race when you really, got to put your foot down and go with the speed. 15, 20 minutes on a stationary bike, maybe 10 minutes on an erg, bit of mobility, 4 or 5 toilet stops. Get a couple of coffees in, get the fluids up, try and eat something as well, like maybe an hour, 60, 70 minutes before, just to keep the glucose levels up. And then from there, you're on the water about half an hour before start time. You do maybe 4 or 5 running pieces, a couple of starts, a bit of overspeed work, and then you're into the blocks, firing up. I gave myself every chance to get into the race and transition well. Had one look and I was around the mark early, like through 250, and transitioning into that second minute, I was just like, oh, like you're in trouble here. Like everything's just going dead. There's just no push. It's just flat. And from there, I was just like, oh, I've got a real uphill battle here to really do anything. Like from yesterday, and where I was there to get into the final, that was an absolute belter. Looking back at that to where I'm right now and the result I just had half an hour ago, it's probably no surprises.
And 8th mercantile, John Linke.
The criteria has been make the top 8 at nationals, and you're selected to go to the trials in April and have a chance at getting picked for the world champs team. So obviously with the semi-final yesterday, qualifying for the final 8-boat final, there it is, which is really, really good. That's a really, really good achievement for me.
I've always known he's been a pretty strong sculler, but I know he had some setbacks after London, with a few surgeries and other things, and he's come back to this season pretty well. I didn't think he'd come back as quickly as he did since December. He seems to have made leaps and bounds, and now is in real contention for the national team.
So from here, I'm really excited. As much as I enjoyed coaching my young Xavier kids, I can piss them off and think about my recovery and my own training a little bit more, which will definitely help.
VIS TV.